Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are gonna read a book about a mole who learns to be thankful. Find a cozy spot and join me. Little Mole gives thanks. Little Mole was so excited for his fancy forest feast. He stood under the old oak tree and admired the big table he'd set. The pinecone pie he'd made with Mama was perfect. The acorn stew was sizzling, and the mushroom soup smelled marvelous. Little Mole beamed on the best seat. He carefully placed special signs for three very important guests. They would be arriving soon. Little Lark peeped out from her nest above and watched as Little Mole put the strawberry sauce on the table. "Who is this special seat for, Little Mole?" she asked. "Oh, you'll see soon," Little Mole replied. "Someone very important." Little Squirrel sat on a branch nearby and watched as Little Mole scurried to the table with a pitcher of blackberry juice. "Who is this special seat for, Little Mole?" she asked. "Oh, you'll see soon," Little Mole replied. "Someone very important." Little Mouse popped his head out of his hole in the tree trunk and watched as Little Mole set the pumpkin pudding in the center of the table. "Who is this special seat for, Little Mole?" he asked. "Oh, you'll see," Little Mole replied. "Someone very important." At last, everything was ready. The Mole brushed his hair and took off his apron. He was all set to welcome his three special guests. They would be so impressed with his fancy forest feast. Little Mole beamed in delight as the first important guest came down the path. It was Principal Porcupine. But before Little Mole could take her to her special seat, Principal Porcupine shook her head and said, "Oh, Little Mole, I'm so sorry. I have an event at school. I can't come to your fancy forest feast." Little Mole was so disappointed, but he cheered up when he saw the next important guest arriving. It was Firefighter Fox. But before Little Mole could take him to his special seat, Firefighter Fox shook his head and said, "Oh, Little Mole, I'm so sorry. I have to clean my fire truck. I can't come to your fancy forest feast." Little Mole was so disappointed, but he cheered up when he saw the next important guest arriving. It was Mayor Moose. But before Little Mole could take him to his special seat, Mayor Moose shook his head and said, "Oh, Little Mole, I'm so sorry. I need to go to the city council meeting. I can't come to your fancy forest feast." Little Mole was so disappointed. He put his head in his paws and wondered what to do. Little lark, little squirrel, and little mouse felt so bad for their friend. "Oh, little mole," they said as they ran and gave him a hug. "We are sorry your important guest couldn't come. You worked really hard to prepare your fancy forest feast." Little mole looked at his three good friends, and suddenly he knew what to do. He jumped up, grabbed his chalk, and wrote on the three signs. "Little lark, little squirrel, little mouse," he shouted. "Three special seeds are for you. Now run and invite all your friends. I want my table to be full." Little Mole beamed at Mamma as he looked around the table at all the creatures who had gathered there. "Raise your glasses," Little Mole said. "Let's give thanks for our families and our friends, because they are the most important." To friends and family, everyone cheered as they drank their blackberry juice.